When my parents first traveled to the United States, I was 4. They left me behind in our blue house in Santo Domingo with 2 babysitters to keep me company. Every night, Mom called to check in. I would ask her, "Are you coming back tomorrow?" and press the phone to my ear as hard as I could to catch her faraway voice. "No, mi amor," she'd reply gently, "but you'll see me soon." I'd cry into the phone. "Just a few more days, mi hijo, and we'll be back, I promise." On the day Mom and Dad were set to return, I stood on the couch next to the window and refused to budge until I caught a glimpse of them coming down the block, dragging their suitcases. At that moment, I ran out of the living room, through the front door, and into Mom's arms. She swept me up, kissed me, told me how much she'd missed me. On my parents' second trip to New York, I came along. I didn't know why we were making the trip. Mom's belly was enormous. I'd heard her and Dad talk about doctors. They told me we wouldn't stay in New York for long, just long enough for me to get to know Tia Altagracia and Tia Mercedes. "Do you want a baby brother or baby sister?" Mom would ask. "Sister." During the flight, I listened to the people speaking English in front of us and across the aisle. I wanted to talk to them, but I didn't know English, so I imitated the sounds coming out of their mouths. "Shh, Danelle." My parents didn't approve, but I wouldn't stop. I tried repeating every English word I heard. For the brief stopover in Puerto Rico, where we took on more passengers, and then for the remaining 3 hours in the air, I was an English garbling machine. Mom and Dad were ashamed and surprised. I was usually so well behaved. But first one compliment from a stranger, then another, and soon my parents began to soften up. "Ese niño va a ser un genio." Egged on by their compliments, I kept at it. Mom and Dad relaxed into helpless embarrassment. 4-year-old me, 29-year-old Mom, swelling with child, and 51-year-old Dad landed at John F. Kennedy Airport on June 15, 1989. Everything about New York seemed so complicated. The street names, the neighborhood names, the distances you had to travel to get anywhere. My parents patiently explained to me that Tia Altagracia and her husband, Jesuito, lived in El Bronx, and that El Bronx was different from where Tia Mercedes and Tio Jose lived, in Queens, where we stayed for a short while before moving to Manhattan for the rest of Mom's pregnancy. For our trips to the Bronx, we took the D train, got off at 167th Street in Grand Concourse, and walked to Altagracia and Jesuito's apartment on 165th and Grant. But my favorite was the trip to Queens. Whenever we took the N train, my parents would let me stick my face to the window and stare at the streets and cars and people flying beneath us as the train shot out from under the East River. Every time we went to see my aunts, the adults had the same conversation. "My sugar's really high," my mother would tell her sisters. They'd nod somberly. One late fall morning, I woke up to Mom's moans. Out of a closet, Dad swiftly pulled out a wheelchair. He bundled Mom up, helped her into the wheelchair, and bundled me up. With one hand, he held me. With the other, he wheeled Mom into an elevator, through the lobby of our apartment building, and down Audubon Avenue and Broadway, until we reached Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center on 167th Street. Mom had one last question for me before the doctors took her. "Do you want a baby brother or baby sister?" "Sister." "But you'll love a brother too." She smiled, her face wan. "Yes, Mama." Dad took me to a room where we waited. Every few minutes, he got up and paced. I fell asleep. Finally, we were called in to see Mom. She lay in her hospital bed, looking very tired, but smiling faintly, holding the newest member of our family. His name was Yando, and he was very light-skinned, unlike me, with large curls of hair on his head, also unlike me. He was beautiful. I kissed him on the forehead. He smelled funny.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.